We have a special guest for today's episode. We're going to be talking to a real-life neurosurgeon. I've got my work cut out for me. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to a very special episode of Out of the Groove. Recently, I was granted a really cool opportunity to get to talk to Dr. Jason Cormier. Like I said at the beginning, he is a neurosurgeon, but more than that, he is very involved in the world of motorsports. He is the CEO and founder of Motorsports Safety Group. I thought it'd be really cool to chat with him, get his perspective on a few different things. You know, in this day and age, health and safety of competitors, not just in auto racing, but in pretty much every major sport, is kind of on the forefront of every athlete's mind. Obviously, the NFL is a huge example of this. They have players retiring earlier and earlier, sometimes shockingly early, and motorsports, especially NASCAR, has kind of followed suit. This most recent kind of generation of drivers seem to be retiring at younger and younger ages than past generations. You know, back in the day, drivers would race till their 50s, 60s, but guys like Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart retiring in their early to mid 40s, that's kind of become the trend now, whereas 10, 20 years ago even, that was not so much the case in NASCAR. So how much does health and safety kind of play a role or in these decision makings, in these drivers' decisions? That's just one of several things I asked Dr. Cormier about. But now, without further ado, let's go to it now, my interview with Dr. Jason Cormier. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric. This week, I am joined by Dr. Jason Cormier, one of the nation's leading neurosurgeons, founder of Motorsports Safety Group. How are you doing today? Thank you for being on.
Eric, it's really good to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've seen you do multiple features in like NASCAR pole position magazines, but for any fans who may not be familiar with the work you do, what is MSG?
The MSG, also known as Motorsports Safety Group, is a collaboration between really forward-thinking minds. It's combined of neurosurgeons, orthopedic surgeons, a heart surgeon, and also physiologists. What we did, Eric, is brought together scientists from different walks of the scientific spectrum, and we wanted to focus more on the drivers in terms of their safety, nutrition, and also as an outreach to the fans, just in terms of what they could do to keep themselves healthy, living just a better life, and really in terms of the drivers, looking specifically at head injury as a neurosurgeon, in terms of preparation before you get into the car, and that also includes many other levels of high contact sports like football and the military and those sorts of things. But in particular with NASCAR and other forms of racing, we wanted to make sure that they prepared themselves prior to getting into the vehicle, also trying to develop cutting-edge technology to not only diagnose concussions, but also treat them and also to prevent them.
So you said it right there, you work closely with drivers. What are some things drivers do throughout the week specifically to physically prepare for a race weekend that maybe some NASCAR fans don't usually see?
Well, what I think they don't see is what's, the different types of pressures that are placed upon drivers. And one of those things is, trying to make sure that they're engaged with their fans, whether it's social media, they have to make appearances. But in that time period as well, they have to focus on their driving. There's a lot of communication and chatter back and forth with their crew chiefs, of the engineers, going back and forth to make sure that the cars or the trucks are appropriate for each particular track. Because whether they know it or not, each car is built separately for each one of these tracks. And so focusing on that, sometimes you can lose sight of what's going on internally to your actual body.
So how difficult would you say is it for most drivers to handle that physical and mental strain that a long race schedule brings?
Well, I'll tell you, Eric, I think it's more difficult than even they think, because it becomes more sort of a routine for them. Many of them are very conscientious that what they do is a very dangerous sport. They love it. It's what they do. It's how they breathe. But on the other side of it, there are fears of things that could ultimately happen when a wreck occurs. So they are, the racing organizations do a pretty good job of revisiting those aspects just before the race on race day and during the drivers' meeting.
And you mentioned it a little bit there. We have seen a lot of care and effort from NASCAR going into safety especially in the last couple decades. But unfortunately, drivers can still get injured, and we do see that from time to time. In your experience, what kind of injuries would you say are most common that you see when it comes to related to racing?
I think more so you see really headaches that can be signs and symptoms of mild to severe concussions. You will see some drivers that have more severe accidents that whether fractured vertebrae. They also can have injuries to their neck. All these drivers have issues at some point in time, whether from head to toe. I think that NASCAR, they have really put a lot of interest into how the drivers are doing on a daily basis, and also particularly prior to and on race day. So I think that they're right on point in many different areas. And what's most important, what I really enjoy, is that they are pushing the label to find new ways to keep them even better protected.
Definitely, and we've seen that just this year. Some crazy wrecks that people have survived, thanks probably in large part due to the safety innovations that NASCAR has made with the cars specifically. You mentioned a minute ago, like drivers, a lot of times head injuries come into play. We've seen in recent years drivers seem to be retiring earlier and earlier. In your conversations with race car drivers, do you feel like they're talking more about safety in nowadays versus maybe 10, 15 years ago?
Absolutely. They're talking more and more about this subject. They want doctors, at the window. They are interested in this conversation. When I gave seminars just last year, when it came time to talking about brain injury concussion, it was really standing room only. Very interesting questions were brought, to the stage by many different drivers. Even after the talks, the drivers would come up and start asking more in-depth questions, like what can we do, and just some general concerns as how they can prolong their livelihood, and if it's time to retire, maybe it's something they should consider if they're starting to have repeat events.
That's really interesting. Well, I appreciate you giving your thoughts on that, or I appreciate hearing those. I do also want to ask you about big world news about COVID-19, which has become a huge, ominous presence in everyone's lives recently. You're a doctor. What can fans be doing on a regular daily basis to help get racing back on track as soon as possible?
Well, I think listening to the CDC guidelines, in particular, really the social distancing is a really huge issue. I sit on 3 panels for the FDA. People kind of know that around the racing organization, so that's really no secret. And so really we're leaning on our governmental colleagues, the FDA as well as the CDC, and certainly all the way up to the presidency. And really listen to those messages because they're very important. Social distancing, not shaking hands for now and bumping elbows, maintain a six foot distance between people, and also washing your hands for 20 seconds. People can think it's long and boring and whatnot, but it really in the end will provide us with some pretty good longevity. And if you're sick, don't go anywhere near anyone. Stay home. If you're really sick and you have fevers that don't go away and you think you might have something that's a bit more severe, then certainly call ahead and get the appropriate treatment. This is nothing that should be thought of as just a common cold. It's much more severe, and we are seeing numbers anywhere from 2-day-old babies to the upper 60 and 70-year-olds that are contracting this virus.
Yeah, for sure. Good advice, definitely. My last question I want to end this on, what is your response when you hear people say NASCAR drivers aren't athletes?
I tell you, I've been preaching this for really the last 3 or 4 years, Eric. I think it's to say that a driver is not an athlete is really your proclamation that you really don't know what racing is all about. Recognize that drivers will lose anywhere from 3 to 3,500 calories in one single race. They're in this cockpit. There's typically no break at all, and they're driving at speeds, they're ungodly speeds of upper 200 miles per hour, and they're doing this for 2.5 to 3 hours, not counting practice. And in the car, you can't just keep filling up on water and different types of hydration. They are athletes, and you do see people, some drivers, and this is less than 1% obviously, but you see some drivers that are a little overweight, but they're still athletes, and I think those drivers are taxing their bodies even more, and it really shows you what kind of stamina and focus they have to drive in 200 and 300, sometimes 500 miles on the track under those sorts of conditions.
Definitely. I'm sure most everyone watching will agree with you there. Dr. Cormier, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I know you're a very busy man. Thank you for coming on.
Eric, thanks a lot. Please ask people to follow us at motorsportsafetygroup.com.
For sure. I'll put all those links down in the description. Go follow them, everyone.
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it. I hope you guys enjoy that. Like you said, go follow Motorsport Safety Group on all of their social medias. That's at MS Safety Group on Twitter, Motorsport Safety Group on Facebook and Instagram. Go check them out. I'll put those links down in the description as well. Really, really appreciate Dr. Cormier taking time out of his very busy schedule to talk with us over here on Out of the Groove. Really interesting perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'll be back at it maybe tomorrow with your regularly scheduled programming. When I woke up this morning, some other pretty breaking news in the IndyCar world that does affect NASCAR. So we're going to talk about some stuff here this coming weekend. Obviously, we have the iRacing, the second race of the Pro Invitational iRacing series. That's happening this weekend. So we're going to have a lot to talk about this weekend. But thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And of course, a big thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. Huge shout out to all of these amazing folks right here. I could not do the show without your support. If you also want to join this group and be a supporter on Patreon, check out that top Patreon link down in the description. I greatly appreciate the support, y'all. Like I said, more videos up very, very soon. Hope you enjoyed this one. Expect some other videos here in the coming days, coming weeks, where you see a few maybe familiar, maybe not so familiar faces. Expect some other videos like that coming out relatively soon. But thank you all a ton for watching. I will see you again sooner rather than later. Have a great weekend, everyone.